Hey guys, welcome back to the Giovanni Show. Today we have on my good friend Sam Prince. What is up, man? Welcome back to the show.
Theo, thanks for having me on. I think it's been a while, almost 3 years now, but let's get things rolling today.
Super long, way too long, man. I'm excited to have you on. Obviously a huge season for the NFC East. Your New York Giants losing Saquon Barkley, having kind of a rough year, but next year there's always next year. So I
Kind
think
kind of a rough year. I mean, it was the worst season in Giants history. I mean, you could talk about Saquon all you want. He's a great guy on and off the field, 2,000 yards. He absolutely deserves it. But when you're in put that system for Saquon Barkley and behind an Eagles offensive line, and when you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and a top five quarterback at Jalen Hurts, you're bound to get 2,000 yards. I don't think with that much a surprise to me.
yeah, no, I agree. What has been your biggest takeaway from this season for your Giants?
From my Giants personally, is that the errors going into the season, the glooming question marks, were worse than I think everyone thought. I was lucky enough to watch them in training camp for 3 days this past off season, and I saw the Daniel Jones contract was just bad from the beginning and never should have been signed. Yeah, you kind of had to after the playoff win, but it's the fact is now is there's so many holes in the secondary that I don't know if there's enough time to fix it all with this Shane Table regime, because you saw this press conference earlier where the Giants owner John Mara said, "I don't know how I'll feel next offseason, and then we have to be patient." Basically, bridging what he said is that basically they're going to have to say, "Okay, we're going to have to rush everything and go all out of free agency," when that's not the right move. When you're not in a win now mode, you're just rushing it. The organization, yeah, you may have a fun 8-win team, but that 8-win team isn't going to make you farther. It isn't going to do you well. You have Gio. There is so many errors on this team for me to even name. The number one biggest error is the quarterback. Personally, as of right now, on January 6, 2025, I do not want the Giants to draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't think Shador Sanders or Cam Ward is good enough. I don't think they're a franchise quarterback. I don't look at any quarterback in this draft class and say, "You're a game changer. You're going to change my culture." Look, I want to be wrong. Ultimately, I would rather just trade down or draft Travis Hunter and wait till next year, because you look at this Giants schedule, you look at their opponents, there's 4 wins max as of right now where this roster stands. So you have 4 wins, most likely you'll have a top five pick, and the top five pick, you're probably going to have another chance to crack at a quarterback. So why waste one now?
I really like this take, and I think that's an unpopular take that a lot of people aren't saying, but I really agree with that. I mean, Travis Hunter, obviously a guy who can go into a team and change, the entire chemistry and the entire culture. So I completely agree with you on that. And man, I have not heard that take yet, and that's just really surprising because all Giants fans are saying quarterback, quarterback, quarterback. So you don't agree though. So
Look, you need to find a quarterback. I mean, the only quarterback on this roster next season is Tommy DeVito. Where, I mean, look, yeah, to Jeremy Lin and Sandy run, but let's be real, he's not a quarterback of the future. I think they'll get a bridge quarterback in free agency. My hope personally is Jameis Winston. I think he'll be a fun quarterback to watch. I mean, come on, who doesn't love Jameis?
yeah. What are your hopes going into the 2025 season?
My hopes, just a lot of hopes, Gio. So where do I start? To see progress and to watch a product in the football field where I'm proud of, because this past season was not fun to say the least for the most part. I want to see a team where I see progress, where I say, okay, we're going in the right direction. Because this year you went 5 steps backwards. I want to watch a team where I'm going to say, okay, I get excited to watch this team. I get excited to watch someone besides Kayvon Thibodeau, Malik Neighbors, Dexter Lawrence, or Brian Burns on this team where, I mean, or maybe Andrew Thomas. Besides that, I mean, when you turn this Giants team, you know they're going to pass to Malik Neighbors. Wendell Robinson has a shot. I mean, am I really watching the quarterback play of Daniel Jones? Gio, ever since I was a freshman in high school, he got drafted. So, end of my freshman year of high school, he got drafted. You know how many years I've watched Daniel Jones as my quarterback in the New York Football Giants? You know how hard that was every single week trying to cheer him on. The hope he's provided me, the weirdness of saying, you know what, they're going to be here. We're going to finally do it. But you look at this in the NFL nowadays. You're going to get a quarterback in the next 2 years for the Giants, whether it's this year or next year. I personally think it's next year, which should be, as I just noted. You look at the quarterbacks nowadays, you know if they're going to be a true franchise quarterback within the first 2 years. If you have serious questions about them after a year or two, then most likely they're not the guy. Now, injuries or other things could play a factor. So that's my 2 year rule with quarterbacks. But really, I just want a fun team to watch. I want a team where I'm going to say, all right, we're going the right direction, kind of like the Lions a couple years ago,
Yeah.
where the Lions won 2 games with Dan Campbell, 2 or 3 games with them going to the 2022 season. But you knew there was progress. I want
Yeah.
that with my team.
Oh, I agree, man. And Philadelphia was in this state in 2020. We just wanted to see progress going into every week. So I understand, even though we're division rivals, I'm hoping next year we have some good, fun, healthy games. I want everyone healthy. I want good rosters. I want it all, man. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I'm excited too. And your Eagles have a big game this weekend against the Packers.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm going go Pack Go. Hopefully the Packers pull off an upset. For Jordan Love Media will go crazy on that. Been a big Jordan Love guy ever since he came out of college. I don't know what it is. Me just Packers drafted a quarterback earlier thing or two. Maybe it's something more NFL teams should take a note of. But yeah, I mean Jalen Hurts still in concussion protocol. I'm not too he'll most likely play, but I think it's gonna be a big game for Saquon Barkley if they do win. It's going to be a Saquon Barkley type of game where, look, they can do that. They did that in week one, but it's week one. That was week one, and things are different
Yeah, no, I agree. And especially having all that game film and everything for the Packers to review. And I mean, the Packers are such a different team since week one. I think the Eagles just need to look at this with the mindset of we can go out there and embarrass them and win in two different countries in one season against these guys. So,
now. Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened before. A team has beaten someone twice the same season in 2 different countries. I'm trying to think. I do not remember that's ever happened before. That could be a first, and it will most likely be a first because I did pick the Eagles to win this week.
I'm hoping it happens. I think that Jalen Hurts' rust just needs to get off of him early, having him out for almost, it's been what, 3 weeks now? It's crazy, crazy to say. And we know everyone, all Eagles fans were crying about Jalen not getting any snaps in the preseason, had a really rocky start, trying to get that rust off. So I think not having him for 3 weeks, there's going to be some rust, and we're going to have to lean on these guys. And I'm excited to see how they do with that, to be honest, because that determines the playoffs right there.
Yeah, of course it does because if Jalen Hurts is healthy, the Eagles are now a two-dimensional team where, look, Saquon Barkley can only bring you so far, just Saquon Barkley. And if Jalen Hurts is fully healthy throughout these playoffs, I don't see a team that stops the Philadelphia Eagles. And as much as pains me to say I'm not trying to spread this to Philadelphia Eagles media out there or Jalen Hurts love. Yeah, okay, let's say they beat the Packers. I think they'll most likely play the Rams. We either play the Rams because I think the Commanders will win. Bucks. I don't think the Vikings will win this week, so that puts it Eagles Rams. And to be honest with you, with that, I see the Eagles winning. I'm a big Rams guy. I like Sean McVay. And the Lions will then beat the Commanders. Yeah, I do think the Commanders win this week and beat the Bucks. And then whether you have it or not, somehow you have an Eagles Lions NFC Championship. It being in Detroit helps them a lot because look, if it's at the link, the Eagles are
Yeah.
unstoppable in the playoffs at the link. And as much as it hurts me to say, you watch his Lions team in the latter part of the season, they're a fun team to watch. They're a great story. I mean, I'm a Dan Campbell regular season guy, but going for it on fourth down is going to backfire on you. You know what? I hate to sound about this negative guy in the Lions. You have so many injuries. All of a sudden, when Jalen Hurts comes alive in the playoffs, they're going to win the NFC Championship and they're going to go to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I cannot wait, and I can't wait to talk to you throughout the playoffs and talk about this because, I mean, we got probably one of the best playoffs that I've seen in a while. This card is great. I mean, I'm really liking, and it really does pain me to say this. I really like Jaden Daniels, and I really like the way that he went into the Commanders and changed that culture. So I think he's going to be electric in the playoffs.
Yeah, man, talk about a guy who's always like Jane Daniels. He was my quarterback one on my board. So I know it hurts me to say that too. Yeah, no, those are the types of quarterbacks when you draft your quarterback in the top five, running you draft a quarterback in your franchise, those are the types of quarterbacks that you want because they're culture changers. As you mentioned, the Commanders before last season, look, did anyone really take them that seriously? Let's be real. No. Now you're saying, wow, I got the Commanders schedule. This is a team where I'm a little scared of her here. Now, I think, as I said, I think they beat the Bucks, but I think that's a great story going in. And if they can build upon this season, the Commanders could be a team in the NFC East where people get scared about. They have a second place schedule next year where, look, they don't have to play the Lions. This is a team where I like them going forward. I like the future. If you want to look at a team in the NFL that is kind of going under the radar for the future, it's the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. One last final question for you. What would if you had to use one word to describe what the New York Giants are going to be going into the 2025 season, what's your one word?
My one word can change. Let me think about that for a minute. That's a good question. One word, mystery.
I like it. I like it because I think there's so much to build on there, especially if they go out and they're listening to this podcast and they go out and get Travis Hunter.
Yeah, no, I think that this team can build. You have great draft picks. It's all about using them correctly. And if you do and you build upon it, it could go the right direction.
I agree. I agree. Sam, thank you so much for coming on today and talking about football with me. It's always a blast, and I appreciate you giving me some of your time today.
Of course, you anytime I got you.
Yes, sir. Hey guys, I am back here with Around the League with Gio. Today we're going to be going over these games pretty quickly, then getting a little bit of talk for the upcoming playoffs. So, the Browns versus Ravens game was the first game. As expected, the Ravens won that game. The Ravens have been so dominant this year, as like years past. Adding Derrick Henry has been a power move for them for sure. The Bengals won against the Steelers, which I was honestly kind of surprised about. The Bengals have struggled. They've had definitely their struggles this year. Pulling it off against the Steelers was super impressive. The Panthers versus the Falcons. This one really got me. Honestly. Turn this game on and see the score and 44-38. Panthers win. Panthers have slowly shown some growth, and I think that's something that a lot of people need to start talking about is how bad the Lions were when Dan Campbell came into that room. And but you kind of saw that growth. Um and I think the Panthers have shown a little bit of growth. I don't want to say that they're going to replicate what the Lions did because I don't think anybody ever can replicate what the Lions did so well. But I do think there's some growth and they're going in the right direction. So I do think to beat a team like Atlanta is definitely a confidence booster for them. And then we got the Texans versus the Titans. If the Texans were healthy, the score would have been crazy. The score would have been, you know, I'm talking 50, 60 on the board, if the Texans didn't have to deal with what they've had to deal with uh this uh this year. But then we got the Giants versus the Eagles. This game, obviously, watched this, reported on it on social media. This game was a good one. Birds win against the Giants with their second and third string guys out there. Sidney Brown secures the dub with an interception of his own. So that was super exciting. Super excited for those guys going into the playoffs this week against Green Bay. We have a chance to make history. I know me and Sam were talking about it on the segment before this. I don't think anyone has ever beat a team in two countries in one season. So I think that will be a new record for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then we got the Jaguars versus Colts. Both of these teams last game of the season. Colts closed it out in Indy 26-23. Then we got the Commanders versus the Cowboys. Um, Thought the Cowboys were going to win this game for the entire game, to be honest with you. Cowboys looked kind of stellar going against this Commanders team. So I think the Cowboys definitely are going to have some false confidence going into the off season now, but I think that the Commanders are going to do amazing things in the playoffs, like I said before in the segment before this. Then we got the Bears versus the Packers. Honestly, the Bears winning this game gave me so much confidence going into this game this week because the Bears, I've talked about it. I have harped on it. I have talked about it. I have said everything that needs to be said about this. The Bears need a change in culture. Okay. And for a team that needs a change in culture, you don't see teams that need a change in culture go up against a playoff team and, skirt out a win like they did. I do think that they need a change in culture, but I am starting to think that Green Bay is a little more fraudulent than a lot of people think. So I do think to drop one to the Bears is pretty bad for the Green Bay team. And it might reflect on, not getting that chemistry right before the playoffs. It might reflect for sure. Then we got the Bucks versus the Saints. The Bucks have been doing their thing lately. Bucks win 27-19. Then we got the Patriots versus the Bills. Thought the Bills were gonna win this one, but it's all right. Patriots get this one. Then we got the Chargers versus the Raiders. This is the best Chargers team that I have ever seen in my entire life, and I will say that for years and years and years to come. I feel like Harbaugh just came in and changed the entire culture, and when you have a guy who can go in and change a bunch of men's mindsets and a bunch of men's chemistry and a bunch of men's teamwork together, that's something super special, and that's what Harbaugh brings to this team. Then we got the Cardinals versus the 49ers. Cardinals have shown so much hope this year. So I think the Cardinals are going to be great next year. I think they're one of my underdog teams going into next year. I think they're going to be super promising, and I think a lot of people are not going to be expecting the big boom that we see from the Cardinals. Then we had the Chiefs versus the Broncos. You can say what you will about it being second stringers, this, that, and the third, but to drop a game to the Broncos, 0-38. Guys, I don't think the Chiefs are ready for the playoffs. I'll say that because it's your second string guys, but if you're not able to put anything up against that Broncos team and it's your second stringers, what's going to happen if, God forbid, one of your players goes out? I think that's something that the Chiefs really need to look at this week. Then we got the Seahawks versus the Rams. Seahawks skirt this one out against the Rams. The Rams have been super stellar this year. Then we got the Jets versus the Dolphins. Jets win. Might be Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Jet and as an NFL quarterback. He may retire this offseason. Then we got the game of the week, the Lions versus the Vikings. Honestly, seeing the Vikings not be able to slow down the Lions kind of gets me, and I'll say this publicly, because I know everyone wants to say I'm the positive kid. I all I do is talk positive about my team. But at the end of the day, I want to be taken seriously as an NFL broadcaster one day. If the Vikings aren't able to slow this Lions team down, I don't know who is. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the only team that has a chance to slow them down, but I will say it's going to be hard. So I think the Lions are going to do fantastic in the playoffs. obviously get that bye week in that home field advantage. So I am looking forward to watching them play in the playoffs, but I do think if any team can slow them down, it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. And then switching gears, going into playoff talk, we're starting a new segment next week, for the wild card, where we will be doing two podcasts, one for the AFC, one for the NFC. We will drop it, I'm thinking Wednesday and Thursday. Um, that schedule could change at any point, and I will let you guys know on Twitter and Instagram, Gio the Podcaster. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know we're gonna start doing that. So if you have an AFC team that you want to hear some football talk about more in depth, then head on over to my YouTube channel, my Spotify, my Apple Podcast, whatever you're listening to this on right now. Go over there and check out this episode. So guys, I am super, super, super excited to start that new podcast for the playoffs. Super excited. We got some things in motion for playoffs and things coming. So make sure to look out. And yeah, I cannot wait, guys. And if you need tickets to go to the playoffs, make sure to go to SeatGeek.com and use promo code GeoThePodcaster to get $20 off your order for any playoff tickets that you need. Wild card weekend, baby.